What's up gamers, Cryptico here, and welcome back to Lowering the Mark, a show where I analyze the current and former world records of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe time trial runs to see how these records get faster over time. We'll look at elements such as the loadout, racing lines, and mushroom usage to better understand what's bringing these times down. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when my videos go live. For today's episode, we're going to take a look at still the most chaotic, random chance, no skill course there is at max speed. Baby Park at 200cc. On May 2nd, 2017, the world record for this run was set at 47.864 seconds by the Australian player Anthony. Fast forward to a little over a year ago on August 4th, 2021, and the record was brought down to 44.794 seconds by the Canadian player EternalX. That's a 3-second improvement between records and a 6.4% faster time. Our former world record holder Anthony has broken 43 world records across 6 unique runs and has spent just over 800 days holding at least one world record. Our current world record holder EternalX has broken only 34 world records across 7 unique runs, but has spent over 650 days holding at least one of his 3 current world records. At pre-release, the world record for this run was just over 49 seconds, and it quickly made its way to the mid to high 47 range, mostly thanks to Anthony. Shortly after this 47.66, American player Darky stepped up and ran the course for quite some time. Over the next few months, he took multiple tenths off the record and fended off any challengers on his way down to the next second break with his 46.999. Darky didn't stop there though. He continued to bring the record down by multiple tenths over the next year or so, and by November of 2018, the record sat at 46.47, 30 records after Darky's initial run. 27 days later, German player Alpha ushered in his own era by knocking off those remaining tenths to get all the way down to 45.98 seconds. After yet another barely achieved second break, the record got faster by multiple tenths of a second again as it was brought all the way down to 45.3 in January of 2021 by Alpha. Shortly after, EternalX stepped in and ignited a brief rivalry between the two before eventually pulling away and getting another second break to bring the record down to 44.7. In total, the record was broken 83 times by only 9 different players. The loadouts here are definitely a unique set. In fact, the first we've seen on this show. Anthony goes with the combo of Daisy driving the Wild Wiggler with the button tires and the parachute glider. EternalX winds back the clock with Baby Daisy whipping Mr. Scooty, also with the button tires and parachute glider. These two loadouts share half their parts and have pretty interesting distribution of points across these stats. Anthony has nearly 3 times as much speed as EternalX and keeps it very close in the grip stat, but the Canadian runs away with the much better handling and holds slight, but important, advantages in the acceleration and mini-turbo stats. If this were a course that required speed, Anthony's loadout would be the way to go, but since this is Baby Park 200, we require high handling and high mini-turbo loadouts to set world records. Do I still need to explain this course to you? Seriously? Whatever, last time. Baby Park is an oval. Just like before, it's a single stretched out circle that's hosted some of the most chaotic races in this game's history. Everyone can enjoy playing on it because it's the one true test to see how good you are at the game, and when you fail miserably, you can blame how random everything was. Let's take a look at these world records. Anthony hits the rocket start and quickly drifts into the grass. He hops a few times before using his mushroom down the back straight before repeating that exact sequence around the next turn to close out the lap. EternalX uses a mushroom out of the gate before hopping around up to this grass patch and then uses another mushroom coming down the back straight. He then goes wide around the next turn for 4 more coins and an ultra mini turbo before closing out lap 1. That right there is about as advanced as this world record gets. Setting the tone early on by grabbing those coins and getting into your line is half the battle on this track. Surprisingly, Anthony has the early lead over EternalX thanks to the grass cut around the second turn. He leads by over 3/10 of a second going into lap 2, but spoiler alert, that lead isn't about to last. Speaking of setting the tone for later laps, let's have a look at the next 6 from Anthony. Around each turn, he'll drift into the grass patch for the super mini turbo, then carry that into the next turn for the exact same thing. He'll rinse and repeat that sequence through the rest of the race, splitting each lap in an average of 6.73 seconds as he makes his way around the final turn to close out this very short race. Now let's have a look at EternalX. He too drifts through the grass patch for the super mini turbo around the first turn, then repeats that with a mushroom on the second lap. After that, he He begins a similar sequence to Anthony, except he grabs ultra mini turbos through the grass and bangs off the wall on each side just before making the turn. He repeats that process over and over through the next 6 laps, splitting an average of around 6.16 seconds before eventually making his way across the line on lap 7 to close out the race. He'd end up posting a time that was 3 seconds faster than Anthony's former world record. So by grabbing much longer lasting mini turbos and snaking through this course on quite possibly the most optimal line in the entire game, Eternal X was able to further improve on his initial 44.9 and take it down to the 0.7 range by the slimmest of margins. In just 8 consecutive records, he was able to amass a 500+ day reign as the world record holder on this course, taking the time down with ease the entire way. I didn't try for 150cc and I'm not trying for 200cc. Keep things consistent. The worldwide top 10 consists of 7 national and 3 continental record holders. Eternal X sits at the top, the only other 44 in the world belongs to Alpha in second, and American record holder Darky rounds out the top 3. Spanish legends Genzua and Alberto go 4 and 5, separated by just 6/100ths of a second. Even more closely separated at 6th and 7th place are American players Nate and Grace. To round out the top 10, we have Tamui, Army, and 4 laps to win. Just like last episode, the main competition for this world record lies at the top 2 spots on this leaderboard. Eternal X and Alpha each have multiple tenths on everybody else, which speaks to how good they are at Baby Park 200. It's been over 400 days since 44.7 was achieved, and nobody else has come close since then. Perhaps this record is bound to last even longer, or maybe Alpha is slowly creeping back up to the top spot he once held. We can never know for sure. That's all for episode 90. Hope you found this analysis of an oval track interesting. If you did enjoy this video, like and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.